there, great lands and lands. Welcome to an all-new video. In this video, we're doing a movie review of a new film that just came out a couple weeks ago and is the third film in a great series that started back in 2009. So we're going to go right into that. Before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this video and the other videos I put up. As always, people, if you enjoy my content here on YouTube, definitely check out my other social media platforms, such as X, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, Threads, Tumblr, Blue Sky, X, many places, so definitely check those out. As always, let's get right into this. So welcome one and all to an all-new video. So like I was saying before, we're doing a movie review of a new film that just came out a couple weeks ago, and is a third film in a great series that started back in 2009 called Avatar, Fire and Ash. Yeah, Avatar, Fire and Ash. Yeah. So this third long-awaited sequel, which a lot of people have been waiting for, some people don't care. I know a lot of people are like, wow, 2009 was the first film. We waited 13 years for a second one, and then we waited a couple more years for a third one, and now we're going to be getting a fourth and fifth and all this, blah, blah, blah. And I know a lot of people are huge fans of Avatar. I know a lot of people are not huge fans of Avatar. So it's kind of like one of those situations where you're kind of like, do I want to see it or don't I want to see it type of deal, because that's just how the Avatar franchise kind of felt. Because the first film was super huge and groundbreaking for its time. You know, 13 years later we get the sequel, and the sequel I just don't feel was anything that great as the original film. And so even this third film, you know, going into it, I wasn't sure if it was going to be any better than Way of Water, or if it was going to be anything similar to, you know, the very first film, especially now that, you know, Way of Water and this one were basically filmed together. How would it differentiate themselves? So I wasn't too sure going in, but I actually came out very surprised. I was really impressed with this film. I thought it was better than Way of Water. I enjoyed it. I thought that visually it was even more stunning than the last film. I think that, you know, the technology has come a long way. I think the acting, the story was better. I enjoyed them not being on the water as much, because the Way of Water just was too much underwater and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't mind aquatic films, but I prefer, you know, especially in a world like this, I would like to see more on land. Just because avatars are not meant to be in the water, they're supposed to be on the land, I feel. So, you know, I think that it being called Fire and Ash, I don't really think it correlated very well to the film, because we got very little of those fire people versus the Way of Water people and the other regular avatars. So I think that was kind of interesting that he decided to call it Fire and Ash, but I think that overall it is a better title, I think, than Way of Water. But this film actually, like I said, blew me away. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was, like I said, better than the sequel. I thought this was a better sequel. And overall, I thought this was more action-packed, more fun, and just overall really more interesting. And I think that the fire people, I think, were really cool. I mean, that the head of the fire people was so awesome, and wow, I never thought that I'd be watching a 3D image character be like, wow, that's sexy. And I swear to God, they made her super sexy, and that was hilarious. At the same time as I can't believe that was a CGI character, because just how realistic they are, they have really come a long way and made them so realistic, and it's insane. But overall, I think that this film is decent, enjoyable, really good, and I really had a fun time watching in theaters. And even with that very long runtime of over 3 hours, it didn't feel like 3 hours. It actually felt like it went by pretty fast. And visually, it just was so awesome and fun. Now, if you're familiar with Way of Water, this film mimics a lot of what Way of Water did too as well. Like, there's a lot of repeat, I feel, scenes. But overall, I think that they did a good job of, you know, giving us some different battle sequences, more aerial battles. They gave us, you know, some more different type of things going on. We got more military base again and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. I love that Giovanni Ribisi popped back up in this one, and other certain characters that were in the previous films. I thought that was really awesome. And overall, like I said, I think that this was just a more superior and better film than the last one that they did. Now, this film happens to be none other directed again, once by the amazing director who has made so many freaking amazing films over the years, Mr. James Cameron! Oh yeah, James Cameron! Woo! James Cameron! Yeah! So James Cameron is an amazing director. Of course, you know, he did Terminator 1, he did Terminator 2, he directed Aliens, he directed several other films, Titanic, etc., their first Avatar, and so forth. And he just is an amazing director that always makes really great action-packed films. And once again, he provides that with Fire and Ash. And I really enjoyed that took it to different levels in this one. He gave us more feature, he gave us more action, he gave us more things that were different than Way of Water, so that it didn't seem monotonous. And I appreciate that, even though there was a lot of similarities to Way of Water, there's still, it did differentiate itself decently, and I think that he did a good job with that. Now, you know, Cameron is a visual effects master. He makes epic films, you know, from Titanic, the first Avatar, Terminator 2, Aliens, etc., and he really brought that in this film as well. He gave us this, you know, fully CGI film that was just amazingly impressive, that looked so realistic. And, you know, of course, you had the few actual humans that you get to see throughout the CGI world as well, but he just knows how to make visually amazing films. And he did that with this film, and I think he did a way better job than he did with this one than he did with Way of Water. And just overall, I think that he had a better concept, a better idea of where he was going with this after he got Way of Water out of the way, especially after being 13 years between sequels. You know, I think he kind of had to get things out of the way, and that's what he was able to do with this one, which made it more cleaner, more easier, more better, more interesting, more action-packed, and I think he did really well with dividing those two into two films and making it really interesting and fun. Now, if you haven't seen anything James Cameron has directed, definitely a film to check out of his that is one of his all-time best and really shows his great directing abilities. It's a great film that came out in 1994 called True Lies. Yeah, True Lies. Yeah. This epic film is so awesome and fun. And, you know, stars the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, the gorgeous Jamie Lee Curtis, and a great dancing sequence in that film, along with the gorgeous and beautiful Tia Carrera. You have several other great people, Tom Arnold, etc. And this movie is just freaking fantastic. I absolutely love True Lies. It has action, it has comedy, it has great writing, it's got great action, it's got great visuals for its time. It is just overall a freaking amazing film. And I think this film really shines, you know, James Cameron's ability to direct and knows what he's doing with action and comedy and all this kind of stuff in his writing and etc. It's kind of similar to Terminator 2. Both of these films, Terminator 2 and True Lies, both are just magnificent masterpieces that he has created that are just ultimate showing he is such a freaking fantastic director. Now, I'm sorry, I know a lot of people probably say, oh, Titanic is one of his best films. I don't agree with that. I think Titanic is a piece of crap film. The only part I enjoyed in that film was Kate Winslet naked and then the ending sequence when the ship goes down. That was my favorite section of that film. And that's all I enjoyed from it. Because the beginning, the rest of it, I think is so boring and so unentertaining. I just can't believe that movie made as much money as it did and got so many accolades as it did. Because, I'm sorry, visually, it was the ending that was the best part of the visual effects. Nothing at the beginning of the film. Because it was literally just people talking and stupidity and stupid stuff like that. It just was such a waste of time when you could have made that film like 2 hours and given a brief eloquy at the beginning and then have the great climactic ending happen. And, you know, even though, you know, the Titanic was a horrible disaster, the action, the breaking of the ship and everything was just so phenomenal. But other than that, I thought the rest of the film was just crap. So, I don't feel that film really shows his great directing ability as True Lies and as Terminator 2 was. But, if you haven't seen anything he has directed, definitely check out True Lies. It was absolutely amazing and fun, and just overall a really fantastically directed film. You haven't seen that? Check it out, people. See James Cameron's direction. He did a phenomenal job. So this film has a really great cast. Several people returning from the previous films. You know, several people joining that are new and stuff like that. But this film just has a really great cast that I think has really brought this film to life and given us really great characters that we enjoy, we have fallen in love with, and just enjoy watching throughout these films. So the first person I'd like to talk about that was a part of this great cast is none other than the kind of the main leader of the Avatar people. And that, of course, is Mr. Sam Worthington! Oh yeah, Sam Worthington! Woo! Sam Worthington! Yeah! So Sam Worthington, of course, plays the main Avatar, the father, the husband of that little clan that's kind of the main centerpiece of Avatar, Fire and Ash and Way of Water and the first Avatar film. And, you know, Sam Worthington is just a really great actor. I absolutely love him. He's been in a whole bunch of great films over the years that just really rock and are awesome and are just really enjoyable. And I think that he is one of those underestimated actors who really kicks butt and just makes really great films. And I don't think he gets the accolades he deserves because I think he's a really great actor that has a lot of great bravado and all his aspects of different acting. I mean, he can do comedy, he can do action, he can do drama, he can do horror, he can do it all. He's just really good at what he does. And I think he provides that in all three Avatar films, and especially in Fire and Ash. I really enjoy where his character goes. I like that it's more of a general or more of a like military style type of thinking process. Like I feel he always has kept that into his character, but in this one I feel he really goes that way even more in this one. And I really enjoyed it, and I think that's really fun and enjoyable, and I think it was entertaining, and I think Sam did a great job of, virtual motion capture, doing that so well and giving us this great aspect that really brings to life the character even more and is super enjoyable. Now, I really enjoyed just everything he brought to it and how he really made it interesting and fun and awesome, and I just really thought that he worked well with everyone throughout the film too, and just really brought to life his character even more in this film and made it even more interesting. And I did enjoy just kind of the relationship he had with his son. I liked the relationship he had with, his wife and his other kids and all that kind of stuff, and I liked his relationship with the other, Navian people and stuff like that, which I thought was really well orchestrated, really well acted and all that kind of stuff. And it just really provided a real kind of nuanced like reality, a real feel. And I think Sam did a good job with that and giving us that reality feel of this being a real world, and I thought that was really done well. Now, if you haven't seen Sam Worthington anything, definitely a great film to check him out in. It's a great film that came out in 2008, and I think it's a very underrated film in this great franchise, and it's just overall I think he plays such a great character. And that, of course, is a film called Terminator Salvation. Yeah. Terminator Salvation. Yeah. So Terminator Salvation is a great film. Absolutely love this film. I think it's a very underrated film directed by Mick G and stars Sam Worthington as kind of the lead Terminator himself. And he just really kicks butt in it. I love his evolution throughout the film, from being a normal human to becoming this like hybrid Terminator thing that we find out later in the film. And I like his evolution and how he creates with that and how he works with that and how he believes still that he's completely human, doesn't realize what has happened to him until he starts seeing the changes and stuff like that. And I really enjoy that. I think it's a really done well, and I think Sam does a great job of acting that and giving us this really great performance that I think is very underrated. I don't think he gets enough recognition for how good that performance was. And because he has some really emotional, like dramatic sequences that are so on point and so well done. And some of the conversations he has with Moon Bloodgood are really amazing too. And I think overall his characterization in that film is just top-notch acting that really shows how good of an actor he is. If you haven't seen Sam Worthington anything, definitely check him out in Terminator Salvation. He did a phenomenal job. But overall, I really enjoyed his characterization, his evolution of his character in Avatar Fire and Ash. I thought he did a great job. I thought that he did a good job of bringing to life even more his character, evolving it, and just giving us this really great character that you absolutely you feel for, and at the same time you grow to love, you grow to just enjoy his performance, and you just really are kind of rooting for him throughout the film. If you haven't seen Sam Worthington anything recently, go check him out in Avatar Fire and Ash. He did a really fantastic job. So that brings me to the next actor I like to talk about that was in this film, and that is none other than the actress known as Miss Zoe Saldana. Oh yeah, Zoe Saldana. Woo, Zoe Saldana. Yeah. So Zoe Saldana is a fun actress. Over the years, I've come to really enjoy her characterizations. I've come to enjoy her acting, and I think overall, as an actress, she does a pretty decent job. And I've seen her play all different types of roles. I've seen her be like this cynical, no emotion type of person, to actually having feelings and being a woman and stuff like that. And I think it's interesting how she usually plays kind of these like hard ass women that are kind of like emotionally unavailable, and when she does play like a normal woman kind of character where she has emotions and stuff like that, it's almost like seeing a whole different person, and she does such a great job at that. And I've come to find how much I disliked her in certain films, but then all of a sudden she plays a different character, and it was like 180 for me, like, wow, she's actually really good. And that's kind of how her character has become in the Avatar franchise for me, because overall I hated her in the first film. I thought in the second film she was a little better, but in this one I thought she was even better, and I enjoyed her evolution into this film. And I think it really showed kind of how her acting chops have really improved, and how she's really evolved over the years in her acting chops, and just has done a really great job of bringing her character to life. And she did such a fun job in Avatar: Fire and Ash. Now, is it her best performance I've seen? No. But overall, I think that it has improved. It's gotten better with this character, and I enjoyed it more in this film. Now, if you haven't seen Zoe Saldana in anything, definitely a film to check her out in. It's a great film that came out in 2014. That's a part of the great Marvel Cinematic Universe called Guardians of the Galaxy! Yeah! Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah! So Guardians of the Galaxy, of course, is the very first film in the Guardians of the Galaxy film series. Of course, we had, Volume 2 and Volume 3. And she plays the great character Gamora, and I absolutely hated her character Gamora in the first film. But then when she started to evolve in Volume 2, and then evolved into Avengers Infinity War, I absolutely fell in love with her character. I think she was absolutely fantastic. I thought she was awesome. I thought she did a great job. She actually started showing emotion, started being a normal human, and it just was so freaking awesome. And I think that, that film series really shines her evolution of how better of an actor she's become over the years, and how her acting has really improved over the films, and she just is really impressive. And I think that Guardians 1 really shines what she started out with and what it would bloom into. And I really enjoyed her performance. Even though I really hated her character, I enjoyed her performance in it, because she did such a great, fantastic job in making you want to hate her. And she just was so damn good. If you haven't seen Zoe Saldana or anything, definitely check her out on Guardians of the Galaxy. She was absolutely phenomenal. But overall, I enjoyed her in this Fire and Ash film. I thought she did a good job, and I think overall she was, definitely better than she was in the previous films, and it was enjoyable to watch her. If you haven't seen Zoe Saldana recently, go check her out in that Avatar: Fire and Ash. She did a good job. So that brings me to the final actor I'd like to talk about that was in this film, and that is none other than a great talent that is an amazing comedian, just a great guy, and just always fun to watch. And that, of course, is Mr. Jermaine Clement! Oh yeah, Jermaine Clement! Woo! Jermaine! Jermaine is such a freaking awesome actor. He is so freaking funny. He's always on point. Is always enjoyable whatever he is in. And I just absolutely enjoy his characters, because he just is so stinking cool. And his characters are always so different in each film, and I love that he brings a differentness to his characters. And it was so awesome to actually see him even more in this film versus Way of Water. And I absolutely love that, James Cameron, took the time to make this character more of a central piece in this film. And it was so freaking awesome. Absolutely love Jermaine's character in this. I love his evolution. I love that now, this time around, he's a good guy, that he's helping the Na'vi, and that he's really trying to do things that are correct and right, and not be what he was in Way of Water. And I absolutely love just what he brings to the characterization, and it's so freaking awesome and fun. And he just really knocked it out of the park with his character. And I just absolutely loved what he did with his character, especially the scene where he's trying to drive that big ass tractor thing, and to help Sam Worthington's character get out of there. So freaking awesome. And Jermaine was just so damn good in it, and he just was so much fun, so entertaining, and just really was a great addition to this great franchise. Now, if you haven't seen Jermaine in anything, definitely a film to check him out in. One of his best, I think, of all time. It's a great film that came out in 2014, 2015 called What We Do In the shadows. Yeah. What we do in the shadows. Yeah. So this film that is the TV series was based off of, he plays this great vampire that is freaking hilarious throughout the entire freaking film. And he is just on point with his characterization in this film. He's so deadpan, so funny, so awesome, and you just absolutely fall in love with his character because he's just so stinking cool. And I absolutely just loved what he brought to the character. I thought he was so cool and so much fun and just really blows it out of the water. And he just was so funny, you know, between him, Taika, and the other gentleman that plays one of the other vampires. It's just on point hilarity. And some of the scenes that he has are just like the freaking funniest thing, and he just knocks it out of the park. If you haven't seen Jermaine anything, definitely check him out on what he does in the shadows. He was absolutely phenomenal. But overall, he was phenomenal in Avatar Fire and Ash. Absolutely loved him in it. He was so good, so fun, and just all around a great addition to this franchise. If you haven't seen him yet recently, go check him out on Fire and Ash now. He was awesome. So what is Avatar Fire and Ash about? Basically, the premise of this film is basically our central family basically has to come up with a plan to basically save themselves from all the aggravation that they keep getting from the Marine Corps that is trying to ore this planet so that they can recolonize, human race. And basically, because of what they're able to do in this film, they're able to take a human and make him be able to breathe on the planet when they usually can't. They have to basically figure out a way to keep him out of their hands and save the day, basically, and keep them from taking over the planet. And basically, it's kind of all the things that happen in between and through, and all that kind of stuff. Really, like I said, really well done film, really enjoyable. Thought it was really fantastic. Thought it was better than Way of Water. Can't say that enough. I was really impressed with it. I really enjoyed it. And overall, I thought it was just a really well-constructed film that really kicked butt. And I thought that it really shined and had a lot more fun than the last film. If you haven't seen Avatar Fire and Ash yet, go check it out on theaters now. Worth the watch. I give this one 9 golden movie boxes up. I thought it was fantastic. I thought there was a little too many similarities to Way of Water, so I have to take it down a notch. But other than that, I think it was a really fantastic, well-done film that was super enjoyable, and definitely something I'll be adding to the collection. Really a fun film. If you haven't seen it, check it out now in theaters. Worth the watch. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, or you have been here before, please don't forget to check out any older new videos you might not see by yet. As always, huge shout out to my subscribers, new and old. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. But don't, please, check out my awesome Patreon page, where once you become a member, you get access to all kinds of cool stuff you don't get here on my YouTube channel. So please check that out. Help support the channel so I can make better and better quality for you guys and get better equipment. So definitely check that out. As always, catch you next one.